Hey guys, it's Lee with Untapped Potential. So, we have a daily quest ahead of us. Arcane Melee. Deal 30 damage to our opponent or opposing creatures outside of combat. So what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna go to our deck mode, which is curiously under battle mode, but okay, whatever. So we're gonna build ourselves a deck, using the deck builder this time, that will let us complete our daily. We're then gonna go beat up on the AI for a little bit in order to earn that, and as many games as it takes. I'm going to walk us through the deck building process here, but you know, while I'm fiddling with menus or going back and forth or just against some opponents, I may cut out some of the dead bits in order to keep things moving and lively. So the colors that specialize in doing damage directly to players, red in particular, and black also has a bit of that. So using the filter, we're going to select red and black. And then we're going to go through and see what's on offer. Just kind of flipping fast here. I did do a bit of reading and preparing before we started this. The first thing we see that can do damage to target creature or player is Nightfire Giant. If you remember the Sunblade elf from the last video where I beat the AI for the first time, the green-white elf who got a bonus for having a plains, this guy gets a bonus for having a mountain, and he also then gets to do damage. This guy seems like a great start. Let's go ahead and jam in 3 copies of him. Goblin Arsonist. He's small, he hits hard, and when he dies, he deals damage. We had that guy be a thorn in our side during that match, and that's a good way to do some damage. I seem to also, let's go ahead and skip to, I'm going to go ahead and, is there a way to do colorless? Oh yeah, artifact. Let's go ahead and do the artifacts. You remember the Perilous Mirrors that do 2 damage? Seems good to me. Let's go ahead and put in 3 of those. Let's go ahead and put in 4 of those. Okay, back to the red and black. So we're off to a strong start so far. We can also sacrifice Ember Hauler here to do damage to target creature or player. 3 of those sounds pretty good. And while we do need to think about ways to do damage to target creature or player, we also need to think about ways to make sure we actually, you know, win. Foundry Street Denizen is a 1-drop who's strong, and it looks like we're keeping a very low converted mana cost in this deck. Converted mana cost is the total. For instance, this guy costs red, but his converted mana cost is 2. We could also just do something like Fiery Conclusion, stuff like that, and just try to build a deck that's just all about doing damage and not so much worried about winning, just to do as much damage as possible. But I'd rather do both, as I get more gold that way. Inferno Fist might be worth the inclusion. It makes our creatures hit harder early, which we like, and it also gives us the ability to sacrifice the Inferno Fist to do 2 damage to target creature or player. So let's go ahead and include 4 of those so far. We may cut some later. Twin Bolt is good as it does damage divided, 2 damage divided as we choose among 1 or 2 creatures or players. This is good. We're going to go ahead and put 4 of that in to get early. We can use it to kill creatures in order to get through with our creatures, or we can just use it to hit our opponent in the face to finish the game off. Let's see what else we have here. Abs. Okay, Scrapyard Mongrel. We do have some artifacts in this deck, which might make him okay. Barrage Ogre lets us sacrifice artifacts to do damage. We have our 4/1 guy here who we can sacrifice him to deal 4 damage to target creature at sorcery speed. It's okay. Into the Maw of Hell. Destroy target land and Into the Maw of Hell deals 13 damage to target creature. Well, we would only have to activate that a few times to be done now, wouldn't we? I don't think that's what we want to do, though. That just seems a little too cheeky. For some reason, I selected plains, or selected forest there instead of swamp. So let's go back to black for a bit. We're up to 26 out of 60 cards so far, and we're probably going to want about 22 to 23 of those to be lands. So let's see what we have here. It looks like we're on a very much an early game plan. I wish we had more, but we're going to go ahead and run the 1 Mullakir that we have, because our opponent's creatures are going to be dying a lot if we do our job right. So that seems really good. He gets a +1/+1 counter every time an opponent's creature dies. Seems really fun. We also have Child of Night, a 2/1, which is fast, which is what we want, and it also has lifelink, which will give us some life back. Let's go ahead and jam 4 copies of him in. Let's us see. Corpse Hauler also hits early and hits pretty hard. With our Founder Street Denizens, though, we're going to want as many red creatures as we can. So Goblin Piker, even though he doesn't have an additional ability, is good for that. We're up to 35 creatures, meaning we have room for about 2 more cards in our deck. We're trying to keep our mana cost low. So what do we want to round out our curve? I'm going to put in 1 Goblin Glory Chaser, which once again with the caveat of I wish I had more. And finally, let's go back one more time over here. And, what the heck, we'll throw in the Despoiler of Souls. So now we're at 37 out of 60. Let's go. I believe the lands were all the way over. They were. We're going to want all 4 of our Rakdos Guild Gates, even though they are kind of slow, but just the ability to have the colors we actually need is just invaluable. So we're going to do that. We also should have some red-black check lands here. We do. We have 2 Dragon Skull Summits, which finally now we're up to 43, which leaves us with 17 more slots, which we're going to have to fill with basic lands. Let's do... How many did I say there? 17? Let's do a 10... Let's start with a... It's late at night. Math eludes me. Let's start with a 9-8 split between mountains and swamps. Sorry about the weird inflection there. My cat's licking my foot. It's a very strange thing. So if we look down here, we see we have 29 creatures, 8 non-creatures, and 23 lands. We have 9 black sources, which are 9 black cards, 24 red cards, and 4 colorless cards. That seems about right. Wish there was a way to... Is there a way to sort? Yes, it's sorted by converted mana cost. So almost everything in this deck, with the exception literally of our giant, costs 2 or less. Maybe we don't even need 23 lands. Well, we do if we want to cast the giant with any regularity. On the other hand, if we just cut the giant and jam some more small things, we could cut this down to be like a 20 land deck if all we need is 2. The question is, though, do we have any other small things worth the including? And that is, I think, the $100,000 question here. Cat is licking my foot, and it's weird. Gurmak Swiftwing isn't actually as good as he looks, so we're not going to include him. Yeah, no, I think we're just going to roll with this. This will give us a big finisher. So, we will save it. We're going to edit it because that... Okay, so how do I go and... Oh, that's nice. So there we can see the colors, we can see the mana cost. Oh, that's spectacular. That's good. For anyone who didn't see that, it's down here. Click the little bars. And here is also where we get to choose something awesome. So we're like on a red-black smackdown deck here. Where was that totally demonic-looking dude? Yeah, that's the one. That's the guy. So we want him. I can already tell you, I'm going to spend most of my time on this just making sure we have the right background. Okay, so we got him looking at that spooky... Oh, no, this swamp. There, that's the magic right there. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and call it... We'll call it direct damage, because that's what we're here to do. And now, hopefully, this will actually work towards our daily. Let's go to a solo battle. Let's try... Well, we're still locked on... I guess we have to do at least one medium before we can do hard. So, medium it is. Okay, it looks like we're up against the spooky panther guy with the purple eyes. That's exciting stuff. And... let's see what he's bringing to the table. I wish my cat would stop licking my foot. It's so weird. Okay, moving on. Lee versus the opponent. Our turn. Okay, we are playing first, and we have a 5-land hand, which is way more than we probably want. But we do have a 1-drop and a 2-drop. I'm going to keep it and just hope that we draw better things going forward. I'm actually more interested in getting the Despoiler out since we don't have any red spells to benefit this guy, but I still think I'm just going to go ahead and get the Foundry Street out, Rakdos Guildgate on turn 2, and then a Swamp on turn 3 to get the other guy down. That may be a mistake. So our opponent's also in red, possibly also in red-black, we'll find out I suppose. And there's the Goblin Glory Chaser, so now I am glad that I did take the time to get out a guy who can defend against that, because if that gets renowned, it's going to start beating face in a hurry, since we'll have a much harder time blocking it. And I was about to say, we should, in theory, start drawing fewer lands, but unfortunately, that's not panning out. So we're going to go ahead and play the Guildgate. We're going to skip attacking. I hate being on the defensive, but there we are. We're going to do that and pass our turn. Our opponent's in red-green. I guess they choose the avatar at random, because that fella does not look red nor green. So during the block step, we are going to go ahead and trade our guy here. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have a trick. He doesn't, so you actually take care of that threat. Our opponent does follow up with Dragon Fodder, which puts 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens onto the battlefield. And while that's unfortunate, it's not as unfortunate as the fact that we just drew another land. Okay, we may have to go back to the drawing board on this one, especially since I'm not even drawing the direct damage stuff I built the deck to do. I should have mulliganed. It said if you draw too many lands, it's just as good to throw it back. The tutorial said that, and it's not wrong. Our opponent's attacking us for 1 here, and we can't block, which means he's clearly keeping up his other creature to block us. With our pitiful 1 toughness, he'll probably get away with it. Fortunately, we actually did draw a really good card here. Malakir Cullblade, okay. That enters the battlefield, and even though we're going to lose our creature when we attack this turn, maybe, he might not. If he does, our creature gets a +1/+1 counter, which will make it bigger. And that's the best thing that could happen to us right now, is it gives us a way to defend. Our opponent's not playing our game, though. He takes the damage because he clearly sees what I'm after. He's also in 3 colors, which can be tricky to do. Now he's offering to try to trade with my Cullblade, and once again, 1 damage is 1 damage. He can bring it on. So I go to 18. Let's see if he has something to do in the second main phase. He does. It cannot be blocked except by creatures with flying or reach. So it kind of has pseudo-flying, but not really. It is, unfortunately, also much bigger than anything else we're bringing to the table. However, we did just draw Inferno Fist, which we're going to go ahead and cast, and then we're going to attach it to our Despoiler of Souls. Yes, I'm saying that right. Okay, so we have that. We're going to go ahead here and attack with it. Wait for our opponent to block, which I'm sure he will. He does. Okay, we're blocked. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to activate the ability. And we're going to do 2 damage to our would-be blocker. And that's a fine way to spend the mana. Okay. So the creature dies. We are still blocked, though, so we don't get to do damage. It just doesn't do damage to us. And our Malakir Cullblade got a +1/+1 counter from our opponent's creature dying. So we are starting to stabilize this board a little bit. And our opponent is definitely not attacking with the 1/1 tokens. Guardian Automaton is a 3/3, and when it dies, my opponent gains 3 life. Frustrating, but fine. Alright, let's see if we get something else good here. Perilous Mirror is spectacular draw right now. We're going to go ahead and drop it. I'm not crazy about the way and since I don't really care, I didn't check on how things spent my mana, though I would have normally just tapped 2 mountains to keep as many swamps up as possible. Again, we want a good mix. I'm actually going to go ahead and attack with the Despoiler of Souls here. If he wants to trade, fine. It'll just make my Cullblade even bigger. And yes, he's going to trade one of his goblins here, and I'll trade 2. Fine. The thing is, once I get another creature in my graveyard, which the mirror is totally going there very soon, I'm sure, I can just exile 2 cards from my graveyard and bring it back. My opponent plays Kulthilfed the Soul Hoarder, And our day just got bad in a big way. It's a flying 6/6 demon. Whenever a permanent owned by another player is put into a graveyard, my opponent draws a card and loses a life. That's awful for me. Okay, and there's also, this is the first time we've seen this, legendary permanents. If he tries to put a second Kothelfed onto the field, he'll have to sacrifice either the new one or the old one. And there's reasons you might want to do that. But as a rule, you probably don't. And while I'm super unexcited here about the fact that since I'm about to lose a permanent, he's going to get to draw a card, we're just going to that's just the world we live in, we're just going to have to deal with it. We're going to block, so we're going to have 1 damage on his creature. We can then do 2 more damage to it, thanks to our Mirror's special ability, which is definitely what we're going to do, so we can get that off the field. Our opponent will gain 3 life. Tragic. And he gets to draw a card and lose a life off Kothelfed. Okay, we got a Goblin Arsonist, which we're going to go ahead and bring out here. We're also going to go to the graveyard and activate our creature's special ability, exiling 2 creatures from our graveyard in order to bring Despoiler of Souls back. Perfect. We're also going to go ahead and play the Swamp just to get all our mana out. So our 4/4 isn't big enough to be intimidating yet, and our other 2 creatures are summon sick. So we're going to pass the turn. Our opponent having a 6/6 flyer, we are on a 3-turn clock to not get beaten to death. And our opponent knows it. He's not afraid. He cannot be intimidated. So we're going to take 6 here. However, now that Kothelfed is tapped, we can start attacking. He plays a 5/3. It's the Juggernaut that attacks each turn if able. That's fine. I'm not crazy, but it's fine. Oh, a skill quest for lifelink. I guess we'll have to go earn some gold. Well, it might be the only gold we're getting out of this match, as I have a really bad feeling about this.
If your creature with lifelink deals damage, you'll gain that much life at the same time. Lifelink often gives you the life you need to slow down an aggressive opponent.
Seems good.
To complete this skill quest, use lifelink to help you survive your opponent's attack. Then win the game on your next turn.
You got it, computer. What do you do? Flying and lifelink. Okay. Basically, the play here is simple. I would lose if I don't block. So I need to block with one of my creatures. Combat damage is done at the same time. So I'll do 1 damage to his creature, gaining me 1 life. And then I will lose 3 life. Since all damage is dealt at once, I never actually went to 0. I kind of only took 2, which is kind of more the way it works. And since our opponent's tapped out, we're going to go ahead and smack him in the face for 1, and thanks to lifelink, end the game with 2 life. Isn't that nice? Alright, we got there. How much gold was it worth?
The unblocked Cyclops would have defeated you. However, the life you gained because of Dagger Drum Imp's lifelink ability kept you in the fight.
Oh yeah. Okay, back to the game. And, well, you heard the lady, folks. Child of Night is going to do some work. Right now, though, I'm going to offer some more trades in order to try to get my Cull Blade bigger. We're going to attack with the Arsonist and with the Despoiler. No, we're going to just attack with the Arson... No. Tough call. Nah, heck with it. Let's go big or go home, yeah? Our opponent is not rising to the bait, however, so we are just going to have to do more damage. And then, let's figure out... Yeah, that's a good way to spend this mana. Let's do that. Yep, we got lifelink, okay. Unfortunately, Kothelfed's flying, but we can at least use it to block the Juggernaut, who has to attack. Which means we can use it to gain some life, and even though our creature is about to die here, it will make our Cull Blade. Sooner or later I'm going to pronounce that right. I wish it did slightly more damage, the better. Oh no, our Cull Blade, it didn't actually die, so our Cull Blade doesn't get bigger. Yeah, this looks pretty bad for us, folks. Okay, we know what trample does. We don't need to see that again. And there's another one of those guys. Gross. Goblin Piker is unfortunately far too little, far too late. So, you know, we're going to go ahead and just attack with all, swing for the fences here, and just see what happens. We are, after all, any damage we can eke out will advance the, will advance our daily progress, and that's fine. We're here to practice. Kind of curious that he blocked that way. I mean, I guess he maybe wanted to keep the mongrel alive. But we can choose to deal 1 damage to something. Might as well just do it to him, out of principle, I suppose. We can't kill the guy, so there's no purpose. Okay. So, second main step, we're going to go ahead and play the Piker. We've lost, so I guess we all have to pay the Piker someday. Haha, okay, sorry. Well, anyway, even if he didn't have anything else here, oh god, why? He's playing so many nice creatures. He still can do, essentially, flying damage. 6 with Colthal Fed, 2 with the green pseudo-flyer. But he's going even deeper than that because he knows he can get away with it. We are going to go ahead and block, though, out on principle here. And we're going to lose horribly. Ow. Oh, no kill like overkill, guys. Okay, we lost. That's okay. We're trying. We could play again, but I think I'm going to go ahead and call it here. Let's go ahead, though, and look to make sure we were actually making progress. Don't look at me like that, guy. Let's go ahead and make sure that that actually worked. It didn't. Okay, I've heard that you actually have to use the wizard for those, which, while that's kind of silly, it is what it is. So we'll try that. I'll try that off camera, and if that is the case, I'll quickly pop back on here to clarify that in the description. Hey guys, so I actually built a deck using the wizard, and then went to play PvP just screwing around. My opponent rage quit pretty early on, or that or there was a connection problem, but given he lost immediately after I blew out one of his creatures, I think it was a rage quit. Anyway, I bring this up because we are about to defeat his AI replacement, and I wanted to record so that we could observe if it counted this time. I'm trying to see if there's any way I can do any more damage to him this turn. I don't think there is. Let us go ahead and see real quick if it counted for purposes of daily. Also, let's see if beating a AI that replaced a human still awards 20 gold. I hope so. Yes, it does. You can rage quit on me all day, buddy. Alright, so that was the game. We got there. Alright, our ranking went up. Also, Arcane... Oh yeah, there it is. Arcane Melee. That was the daily. So, we got a portion of that, I think. We'll go check at the menu here in a second. And Millstone. That's an achievement, I think. Put 2 creature cards from your library into your graveyard in a single duel. Well, yeah. Okay. So we got an achievement there. And we did make progress on our quest. Okay, so you have to use the deck wizard to do it, apparently, which is silly. But on the other hand, I build a deck and lose. The deck wizard builds a deck and I beat a human. So there's a possibility that maybe, just maybe, I should stick with the wizard for a while. Okay guys, so that solves the mystery of that. I did a little reading. I think Wizards has said they intend to change it so that any deck will work. But in the meantime, for purposes of dailies, stick to the deck wizard. Thanks for watching.